alone just to try.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome, everybody, to Friend or Foe's Heroic League, Week 3, Day 1. Messed that up a little bit, but that's okay. Here to bring you Game 1 on the blue side, Team Azareth versus Team Spear on the red side. My name is Whirler, and color casting with me today is Found.
Yeah, how's everybody doing today? It's great to be back. I'm so excited to see these new teams play. Team Spear, I haven't seen them before, and Team Azores returning. So we have a great day of matches set up, and I'm really excited for what we have in store.
And on the bands, on the blue side, rather, we got the Rakan and Lilia out the way immediately with Galio responded to on Team Spear's side, about to be another in just 1 second. It's going to be the Zed. How do you feel about those, as well as any specific bands that you see here that pique your interest?
Well, it looks like that Team Spear is trying to target ban the mid at this point with the Galio and the Zed coming through. Those aren't typical bans, so I assume that is what Hisami has been playing. And the Lilia and Rakan, I really like for the team tie to Team Azores. That snap engage from Rakan can be really difficult to play against when if your team is still getting used to the things. It is still early in the league, so the coordination is not going to be perfect. So having something like Rakan taken away is definitely solid. So I really like what both teams have tried to have gone for in their opening.
Alrighty, as we get into the first pick of the draft, Team Azareth looking to hopefully lock in something for their comp to really solidify something, and that's a perfect one right there. We got the Hecarim lock-in, responded to by the Anivia on Team Spear's side.
Yeah, the Hecarim is the best jungler available, so him getting picked early is not really a surprise. Now, with the Anivia coming through blind, that is a really big tell that Sergeant Tittle is really confident that he can take this matchup into anything, because Anivia is not typically a blind pick. And then here's the Udyr trade. Hecarim Udyr is the most common junglers you will see in the Tika Pro play, and it's even translating down here. So, oh, actually, I'm sorry, I was wrong. They changed it over to the Jinx.
That is going to be the Jinx pick, actually. So they're going to save the Udyr. They know that they already locked in their jungler. They don't really need to, threaten it with the counter pick 2. They could save it for pick 3. Definitely don't want to keep it anywhere past that in case they want to ban it, as Kai'Sa looks like it's going to be the response to the Jinx.
Yeah, very typical lane matchup. The reason Kai'Sa can struggle with Jinx in the straight 1v1 just because of the range difference, but when there's a huge engage like Hecarim, Kai'Sa can get onto the backline right onto the Jinx for the assistance with the extra damage one shot. So I really like what Team Azores has so far. Let's see. And they're probably going to look to round out with support. I would expect maybe a Rel or some other type of engage to really put the pressure onto this Jinx. So let's see what they try to round out this third pick.
Ooh, and it's looking like it's going to be the Ahri locked in for Team Azareth. Definitely a swing in a different direction, but I don't think this one's necessarily a bad direction. Not my favorite mid laner to pick, especially in organized team play, but how do you feel?
Ahri she's really a feast or famine champion. But she does cover for a lot of laning difficulties that some players have. So I can see why she's risen in popularity, and a lot of people are picking her in solo queue, and it's now translating down to here. The Anivia matchup into Ahri is pretty strong into Anivia. Anivia is really slow and has difficulty with skill shot champions that have CC. So I do see why Hisami wanted to take this matchup, and he's probably pretty confident that he can win it.
And with Jinx Alistar being locked in, what kind of support do you see Team Azareth or Team Spear banning away from them to kind of give Kai'Sa not only a good partner, but definitely a winning lane?
Well, them choosing to ban the Alistar, you would think that they were going to pinch support, but it looks like they're going to looking to pinch the top side a little bit more. Maybe a little bit concerned about what Kiz has in store for the top lane. Most likely my guess is that the next one to transition into their top side pick from TAS, and they're going to save their later pick for their support role. So getting these bans out could really help pinch the pool and get a solid matchup in the top lane for Team Spear.
And instead of taking that free Udyr, how do you feel about them picking Alistar and giving it away?
To me, this indicates that they have something that they are willing to play into Hecarim that's not Udyr. I would hope that they have a specific counter pick for the matchup, since Hecarim is so common. There is plenty of opportunity to practice other things that are good into him. So I'm honestly not sure what they're gonna pick, but I would hope that Big Brain has something, big brain to play into it.
Absolutely. Is it's going to be the Skarner? That's actually not that bad of a pick into Hecarim, I don't think. Not as fast of a clear for sure by any means. But when it comes down to the mid-late game, I think that Skarner has a couple edges on Hecarim.
Yeah, it's really solid. I like the pick. It's another Chem Tank jungler. Chem Tank is really strong. It's what makes these champions so abusive so early. And Skarner has the ability to not really be punished by the Hecarim. Skarner can match in the 1v1 enough to not be pushed out of his jungle. So a decent pick. Both champion, the mid and the AD carry are going to be vulnerable to it. Neither champion really wants to build QSS. So I like where they went with it. And then they do get the counter pick in the top lane, which they could definitely look to ear out a really big draft advantage if they manage to get a top lane that's winning.
I think both comps here are looking pretty well drafted so far with all 4 of these picks being locked in. We got one more pick coming on, the last pick for Team Azureth. Let's see what kind of top laner they would like to pull out. And it's going to be the Camille. It's actually not that bad of a team comp, if I'd say. How do you feel?
I'm going to wait just a moment to see what Team Spear does round out. But based on what they have now, they have a really solid zone control, and they can win against what Team Azores has put together if they manage to use the Infinity Wall and really zone off the Hecarim when he's engaged, because there's not really a big amount of dive that's going to be following up after that besides the Leona R. And Urgot is really solid here. Actually, I like the Urgot pick. He's really decent. He's decent into Camille. He's decent into Hecarim because Hecarim has a difficult time surviving that burst that can come out. So I like what Team Spirit has really put together here.
Alrighty, and we got quite a game, ladies and gentlemen. Team Azureth versus Team Spear coming at you live for game number 1 of the Heroic League. In the top lane, we have Kiz versus Orphic. We have Volts XS versus Big Brain in the jungle. Hisami versus Sergeant Diddle in the mid lane. Bot laners, we have Gula and Onbo versus Linsanity and Oriri. Definitely looking for a show this match. I have not seen Urgot, especially in organized play in general, not pro play, but in a long time. I feel like Urgot is very... How do you feel about that? Confirm this for me. Is he very niche right now?
He is niche. He does generally require a good matchup, which is probably why he was saved for the last pick. He is a decent Stride Breaker user, so he is on that trend of Juggernauts being able to take over the game. He has a lot of damage, and he's ranged early, so he does have the ability to kind of lane into some of the more difficult ranged top lane matchups that we've been seeing. So I like Urgot here, especially into the Camille. Urgot can beat the Camille early, especially with gank assistance. But if Camille does manage to accrue any massive advantage and can beat the Urgot into the 1v1, there's not really anybody who can side lane against the Camille. So it's really going to be on this Camille player to see what she can do in the mid game to really stretch out that late game advantage.
And looking at the carries on Team Azureth versus what Team Spear has to offer, Leona has a big job this game. What do you think kind of a build path she would like to do this game?
I think the expectation is she'll probably go for that locket. If she's not trying to, because her main goal is really going to be to just survive, provide extra shielding and extra CC for these divers, because she's not going to be looking to peel for the Kai'Sa, because the Kai'Sa is going to be probably diving in onto the back line. So give some of that. If she's really trying to be spicy, going Mikhail's heal would be very good, since she has 2 champions that don't want to build that suppression reduction and get the QSS. So that would be also a decent strategy. But she definitely does have a big job. She has champions that tend to be out of her range to lock down. Her R placement is going to be very important for these team fights. So it's really going to be up to the support to manage to make a big impact.
Alrighty. It's looking like a pretty good game. Are we ready to go into it? Who knows? We'll see. We will see. Okay, we will see what we're doing right now. But I'd like to touch on one more thing. I think the biggest thing we're looking at this game is the Hecarim engage. Most of the time, you would see, because his ulti is unstoppable, there really isn't too much that can counteract it. What do you think Team Spear's options are for stopping this Hecarim, barring the Anivia wall?
So it's going to be really big on the Alistar to be a decent body blocker. If the Hecarim is going in alone and is not getting, he doesn't have a lot of damage in his kit within himself to just explode the Anivia or the Jinx by himself. So he definitely requires some more follow up from his team. If they're able to split the Hecarim with the Anivia wall as he's R'ing in, then Hecarim can just be an easy one shot onto the Team Spirit, and then they can really look to transfer that rest of their advantage with Jinx resetting and getting the Get Excited bonus and getting that long range damage onto these relatively short range carries in the Kai'Sa and Ahri.
And do you think the Skarner ulti being used on Hecarim is worth, or do you think it's the other CC should be used in order to save it for carry?
Generally, it's not typically going to be the best idea because Skarner is going to be building tanks, so he's not going to explode super fast. I think the most optimal play is probably to save that Skarner ultimate for the Ahri or to the Kai'Sa when they're really pushing in to get into range to do the significant portion of the damage. If the Skarner can flash ulti them at that point, then they have a good chance of getting one shot and giving Team Spirit the opportunity to really reverse the team fight at that point.
We have a very safe draft, I would say, on the side of Team Spirit. Both teams are kind of, in their own way, have their own sort of beef. But Team Spirit, I feel like they're going to take the cake in terms of health. Against a team full of divers, what do you think their game plan is going to be for protecting their only carry? And Anivia.
Well, Anivia definitely has a decent opportunity to dish out a lot of damage because he has multiple champions that's going to be diving into it. Anivia tends to like to be dived upon, provided she's not hit by the CC. So if they're all going for Jinx, that gives Anivia a decent possibility to carry, and if they're all going for and vice versa, if they're all going in that direction, then that gives the Jinx a decent opportunity to carry. So it's both these carries can be very strong if they manage to get out of this early game without a huge deficit. The lanes are going to be difficult, especially on the side of that Anivia. So it's going to be up to Sergeant Diddle to maintain his lane advantage, not allow the Ahri to find multiple kills, multiple advantages. Because if these champions both get to level 6, I don't expect anything significant to happen into the mid lane at that point.
Alrighty. And in terms of specifically the jungle matchup, early game versus Hecarim Skarner, clear routes versus ganking opportunities / kind of what their direction is going to be, because we do have Skarner on the red side. That gives them sort of an opening for the dragon, as you would know, versus on the blue side you have the Rift Herald. That's pretty open for the Team Azerth as well. What do you feel like these junglers are going to be looking for?
So when it comes to clear speed, Skarner does not clear as fast as Hecarim, so Hecarim does have the opportunity to get out onto this map a little quicker. But the main purpose is going to be for the Hecarim to find an angle while the Skarner is still clearing, and for Skarner to get out onto the map after he's done clearing.
Alrighty, that definitely sounds good. As we get into game number 1, we did have a brief pause for quite a moment. We had a disconnect on the blue side. However, we are back in action, and it is going to be a 5-point from both sides, sort of a 4-point actually. And it seems to be a calm neutral for the start, as it is going to be Urgot waiting in the bush. Let's see if Camille understands or does something for this. As Skarner is going to recall out of vision. No worry about that. Going to reset. It is going to be 1v1 on the top lane. Is Urgot going to wait to sort of fight this, or are we going to look to just start the lane off normally? We have no idea, as it is going to be Alistar shown on a blue ward, put in the river pixel. They are going to move in and get a chicken ward to hopefully spot out this Hecarim and see where he's going to be clearing. It is going to be a top side start for the Hecarim, inversely a bot side start for the red side.
Important to note that which champions are placing their wards in the early game. So Ahri has already used hers, so that ward is going to expire by the time of the first gank timing. So she is going to be a little bit vulnerable if they've been pinging out who uses what ward and at which timing. So I'm interested to see where the Skarner is going to look for his first gank.
Alrighty. Got a good trade going on in the mid lane. Already landing some Qs, both junglers finishing up their blue buff and starting off the Gromp. An early push for the Kai'Sa. They're going to look to get that level 2 very early, as they've pushed in all 6 minions before Jinx has killed 1. This is definitely going to be a level 2 advantage for the Kai'Sa Leona. Already under their own tower, though. Let's see how this one will turn out.
Yeah, it looks like they did push a little too hard. The big advantage of having a level 2 is when you get them when the waves are meted into middle in the middle where you can look to engage. But when the wave is pushed so hard, they're not going to be able to get that level 2 because they obviously can't dive the tower. They're not going to ever be able to get a massive advantage out of it, besides some CS that Jinx may have missed. So a little bit of misexecution on the wave management, but it is good that Kaisa and Leona are getting the pressure out in a matchup that they could struggle with if Jinx manages to utilize her range.
Hecarim is going to spot out that ward on the chickens, but it is going to let them know where Hecarim is clearing. They do know he is full clearing towards the bot side, as Hecarim is going to ping out that ward. It isn't going to take it, though. It is going to expire on its own, as Urgot's getting a lot of advantages going on in this top lane. Pushed Camille under tower, 10 CS in the lead. Is a big wave under Camille's tower, so hopefully she can even this out with this. It's going to bring her up to, if she gets it, all 12. But who knows exactly how that one's going to go. Already pushed into her tower. Skarner's going to take the top side of the crab. I don't think they're going to look to dive this. Do you think they're going to be able to?
No, it's unlikely. They're probably just going to look to procure some CS advantages, make sure Camille's feeling that pressure, and then guarantee that Skarner does get his Scuttle Crab. But if you look at the lane placement in the bot side, it does look like Hecarim is going to have the opportunity to gank, as the lane is now pushing into the blue side. There is no wards too, so it's going to be really up to this Alistar to disengage, as he just placed the ward. So they should be picking out that Hecarim is now going to be seen if he tries to walk through the river.
Absolutely. He is going to be taking the bot side crab in response to Skarner on his. They are even, completely even in camp. Skarner's still hovering around the top side, is going to get his recall off, as well as the Hecarim. No action just yet in the bot lane. Health bar still at full. In the top lane, it's going to be almost a trade coming out from Camille. Almost in range, but does get the Q out. Urgot slightly low on mana. See if something can happen up there.
Yeah, and Skarner is in a really good spot right now. He did manage to get his base off earlier. He's going to be at his Gromp faster, so he's going to be able to move into and maintain the CS advantage. And he's going to not be as pressured to do things if the Hecarim is just going to be in a full clear kind of pattern, and you're not going to be expecting him anywhere early, other than maybe bot side when he paths down in that direction.
Absolutely, and it's still looking pretty good for the bot lane. They are 5 CS up total. They haven't really done anything with a wave advantage just yet. They did have the wave kind of pull into them previously, but Hecarim choosing not to gank that. Could have been a flash. I do notice that Jinx has took cleanse this game. Kind of smart considering that she's against Leona, but how do you feel about that over heal and exhaust on the support? As actually before that, it is going to be a quick little trade on Urgot. Not too much is going to come out of it, just half of his HP, but back to the cleanse.
Yeah, it's very smart in this matchup. He has two champions that are really dependent on landing their CC, being able to cleanse out of the Charm or the Skarner R. Or the Leona R is going to be really important. And first blood's going to come out outside of
first blood in the top lane. Let's see what happened there, because it is going to be a Camille committing to a trade after knocking half of his health, but getting flipped and losing half of hers as well. It is going to be an auto trade. She is going to hook shot nothing. Urgot's going to flash on her, and before she can get the heal from her W, she is going to go down to the auto attack.
Yeah, the minions did a lot of damage in that trade.
Definitely not too good for the Camille after getting half of his HP previously. In the mid lane, though, there was a little bit of a threat of a gank, as Skarner is going to come in for the round 2. Not going to get the stun off of, going to lose his shield to the Ahri trade, but isn't going to be too much after that. Leona going to go for this cannon. Don't know if it's going to get punished or not, but Anivia going to push the Ahri off of the wave so that she can back. It's going to be Ahri out of mana. Going to take a long time to clear this, so who knows if she'll get a timely back, but I think she'll have to back after this one. Hecarim is going to be soloing the dragon on the bot side, and I think bot lane should be able to push this up pretty quickly and go ahead and meet him there if he needs it.
Yeah, that was a very smart series of ganks on the side of Big Brain. So he basically was able to pressure out the Ahri, make her use extra mana, so she has to back, and she has Ignite, and the TP advantage is going to be on the side of the Anivia. So just them getting that extra pressure down is going to make it a lot easier for the Anivia to transition her lane in the later phases. So I really like what he went for that there. Right there, they do sacrifice the dragon for it, but the bot lane's been getting pushed in basically all game, so they probably just decided that it was better to give up the dragon than to look for a fight that they may not have been in the advantage of.
And it is going to be an Infernal going to the side of Team Azurith. With their team, a bunch of divers. How do you feel about, as it is going to be Camille hookshotting out of the gank, how do you feel about the Infernal Drake on 5 divers?
Well, they're probably not going to get too much value out of it because Infernal is morally a scaling buff, so they're not that many champions that are really heavy abusers of it in the game. I mean, you do have the Camille and the Ahri and the Kaisa, but Hecarim's not going to really get the match, so he probably would have preferred a Cloud. So I don't think they're in too much of a disadvantage having having lost the dragon early, and Hecarim would have had to blow R if Alistar would have found him.
Alistar failing to play hide and seek with the Scar or with the Hecarim, but he is going to show mid and scare off the Fox. The Fox is going to have to back off a little bit and respect that. And Alistar is going to make his way back to the bot lane.
Yeah, Ahri is getting a extended series of good trades over and over again. I'm surprised that they did not give the blue over to Anivia based on how dependent she can be, but it is going to be spawning in a little bit. And that's probably going to be the next angle, because if Anivia can hold at this point, there's not going to be that many options for a kill onto the Ahri unless she's going to look to roam.
Absolutely. Oh, good charm landing on the Anivia, flashing out of the Q2, but it isn't going to be enough. She will lose her egg, which is huge for this Ahri. Already getting a bunch of good trades on her is going to have a lot of advantage pressing forward. After seeing Skarner and Alistar already in her lane, I would be afraid of them showing up more now.
Yeah, she on the positive, she does still have her teleport, so she can get back to lane if she is going to look for that angle, but she hasn't really been able to maintain that lane control that's required for this matchup. So this Ahri is really finding many opportunities to punish, and he's doing a really good job of constantly getting in there, hitting the charm, getting the Q2 and Q1 down for all that damage. So very well played so far in the mid lane.
As it is going to be the blue buff given over to Ahri. Both top laners are in the top side, looking to either make a Rift Herald happen or some sort of a 2v2, as Urgot is going to press forward, not get any vision in here, but scare off the Hecarim from advancing any forward, as Camille is looking to start off a trade. Skarner is waiting in the wings to hopefully start something. No wards on it at all. Is Camille going to use the hook shot? Have no idea, but she will take almost half her health in a trade versus the Urgot, as the Skarner does walk away, and they are going to start the crab.
Yeah, it looks like he was just waiting for the crab spawn, but here's a gank here coming.
Hecarim charging in onto the Urgot, pushed up a little too far, not respecting the horse in his house, and he is going to take him down.
Oh, that is just misfortune. And Skarner tried to help, and they didn't just want to give up the Urgot for kill for nothing, and now he's going to lose the crab also. That's going to give a 2 to 3 camp lead on the side of the Hecarim, so he's going to have that experience going into this next dragon fight.
Absolutely, as that is going to come up in about a minute and a half. They could also, as it looks like Hecarim is going to do such, start the Rift Herald. It is on vision, so Team Spear are aware of this happening, but it does not seem like they're going to do anything at the current moment, as Skarner is going to recall. A good stun from Leona is going to hook onto the Alistar. A TP from the Urgot is going to force her to flash away, but it is not enough. The Solar Flare is going to get the cleanse from the Jinx, but she is tanking massive amounts of damage. The flash on the Urgot with the ulti from the Leona isn't going to get the Terrify because it was flashed out from the Kaisa as well, and she's going to get out alive, but that is going to be a TP and a few more summoners for the Leona.
Yeah, very well played on the side of Goa, flashing out, predicting the Urgot flash so she didn't get that fear. That probably would have been her life, but it looks like they're still setting up for a play with the Alistar sitting over the wall. He does have his R available, so they can look to dive if they manage to get this wave in before the Leona gets there.
And we do have
Skarner's
Skarner
also
coming
back.
down. He is in the tri-bush right now. He does have flash available with the ulti. No flash on the Kaisa. He's going to pull him out the tower. He's going to get hit by the Jinx W, and he's going to get volleyballed around, ulti away, but it is not going to be enough. Jinx is going to take him down. It is going to be Leona back in the fray, back at 1 HP. She is going to go down to the Jinx as well. But we got Kiz with the TP coming down to the bot lane, getting some damage on the big brain, but it's not going to be enough. They're going to trade an Alistar, but that is it. It's going to be a 2, previously 3 for 1 trade.
Big series of advantages for the Jinx. She had been behind a little bit in CS, but now she's basically caught up. And just getting those early kills onto your bot laner, who's going to have to put up so much damage in the team fight, is really, really good. Jinx didn't even need to burn her flash to pick them up. So that's going to put Team Spear's bot lane in a really good spot.
Hecarim is going to be onto the dragon first, is going to get stunned up by the Anivia, is going to ulti over the wall she put down. She is going to be taken very low, and she's actually going to be going down.
Yeah, she did do a good job of dodging the Ahri charm and the Hecarim the Hecarim onslaught of shadows, but there just wasn't really enough space for her to have gotten out in that position, and that's going to be a really big kill because the dragon is going to be up and available, and they're going to get the push in the mid lane with the Rift Herald being up to get that extra gold. So this is probably just going to be plates and the Ocean Drake just going over to the side of Team Azorth.
It looks just like it, as the charge is going to go through. Ahri is going to get 2 plates off of that, and it does land the charm onto Skarner. Skarner taking down to a quarter. That is huge, actually, as a top lane trade is going down. Orphic forcing the flash out of Kiz. Kiz is having a run for his money in this lane, as his tower is taken very low. Is Orphic going to look to dive and probably take the tower in front of his face as a hook shot going on to Orphic is going to take him very low. Ulti onto the Camille is going to flip him over, though. Kiz taken very low, and oh, so close, but the ulti from Urgot was enough to take him away. Is going to get a free flash out of that, too, as the dragon does go over to Team Azorth.
Yeah, Orphic has been playing this lane immaculately, having taken 5 plates at 13 minutes. There was no Herald, there was no extra bonuses. He basically just did that solo in the 1v1. So very well played on his part, getting multiple solo kills, getting a full tower. He's going to have to use that advantage in these team fights.
We do have a lot of scaling champions on the side of Team Spear. The Jinx already set off with 2 kills, not 2 even in CS, but those 2 kills really help her get her going. And the Urgot, who isn't going to scale as hard as the Jinx, of course, but is 3-1 right now with a whole turret, a whole solo turret in its pocket. That is something to be scary. That's something to be scared of.
Yeah, and the gold is allocated on exactly the people that Team Sword want them to be on. They want to have that advantage on the Urgot so Camille can't just split forever, and they want to have that advantage on the Jinx so they can still win team fights. So they're in a really solid spot despite only having a 2k gold lead. And the next dragon is probably we're gonna look to see the biggest action now, preventing preventing Soul Point.
And it is going to be the Cloud Soul. Hecarim is probably very happy to see this. You were talking about that just a second ago. We have 2 more Cloud Drakes that Team Azorth could possibly get. Orphic is going to be in the bot lane that did do the lane swap. It is going to be Jinx and Alistar going to the mid lane, so Anivia is going to be rotating to the top lane. Very, very interesting lane swaps, as the charm does go wide on the Jinx. Is going to recall under tower. Urgot is going to get a lot of damage onto this turret before anything even happens. This turret might even go down in one go.
Yeah, I really like these lane swaps. So the Anivia is not going to be able to be pressured by the Camille, especially since she doesn't have any tower. Doesn't have a tower, and the Jinx can just farm safely in the mid lane, provided that they maintain some ward coverage. So this is a really smart lane swap with the towers having gone down already, and the Anivia is just going to get so much opportunity to free farm and come back into this game.
Sounds just like it, as Urgot should be taking this tower pretty quickly. Hecarim is coming in, is going to stop him from taking the couple last hits, going to clear the wave, and hopefully regroup. I would say towards the mid lane. I don't see too much of investing 3 people for this Urgot. I think Camille should be just enough. The tower should be going down anyways. Hecarim is looking like he's going to come down there. But we have a flash on the Skarner, and he has a dream that he is going to pull Onbo into the back line. Onbo going to be taken very low. Does land the Solar Flare onto 3. Ahri going to be trading back. It is going to be Camille and Hecarim killing the Urgot in the bot lane, and Kaisa killing Alistar in the mid lane. Good rocket from Jinx, going to bring Gua very low. Going to go down to 1 more rocket, and that is going to be a 2-for-2 trade across the board.
Yeah, really well played traps on the side of Linsanity. Just completely canceled out the Kaisa R. You cannot use any dashes over the traps, and that was really well played to prevent any follow-up damage going on to the Jinx. And she is in a super solid spot at many times a shutdown on herself. It looks like off screen the Urgot did go down, so there is a shutdown given over to the Camille. But in general, I think Team Spirit is pretty happy with the spot they're in at the moment.
It is going to be an even trade. Camille is going to get 1 free turret out of it. The gold advantage has gone even between both teams. Jinx, still very fed, has that Kraken Slayer on hand, is looking to get a gank. Not really. No, Hecarim is going to recall off of that. They are going to take a free mid turret as well, actually pumping the gold advantage up 200 for Team Azereth. As Camille, in a sticky situation on top of 3 members of Team Spear, is going to get out of that unscathed. And in the top lane, well, we have a farm fest.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get that chilling smite down to really get the slow so he could get in range for his E. The Camille didn't have flash, but they might not have known that the flash was unavailable. But
Ooh. Orphic is going to take the bot tier 1, and Kiz is not going to really go with that untraded. He is going to hookshot onto him, get a quick trade going on, but Ariri is on the offset, ready to engage on him. Isn't going to be too much. Kiz will respect that, but is going to be the inverse side of the map. Hackerim taking charge and getting a second Rift Herald for the team. We got Team Spear responding to that by putting 3 in the bot lane to hopefully pick up this Camille, but I don't think that's going to happen. It is going to be Rift Herald going down for free for Team Azereth.
Yeah, the extra gold is going to be a really isn't going to do much because the plates have already fallen, so they're probably just looking to trade this Rift Herald for the setup on Dragon, and they do have it. So they should just be able to secure this Dragon for the trade, but there's probably going to be a team fight breaking out, as Hecarim does have the R to get into the pit.
He is going to go around the other side, though. He's looking to maybe team fight this before he even thinks about stealing it, as Kaisa is in the base, off to the side, not in this fight, but we do have Camille coming from the back. Is it going to be the steal? No, it actually is just going to be going down untraded, respecting the fact that that's all 5 members of Team Spear, and they're just going to give 1 and go.
Yeah, that was a really well executed Dragon setup. They didn't want to contest for the second Herald, so they put 3 people into the bot side to pressure the Camille so the Urgot could get a free full push and an early base. Really well done.
Ari is going to be dashing forward. Isn't going to get too much out of it, but continue.
Yeah, the Spirit Rush is going to go down for nothing here, so that is going to be a cooldown that's going to be taken away. But I really like the macro decision there, so that make sure that they were able to get that Cloud Dragon and prevent the Soul.
Definitely, if they did get that Dragon, that would have been Soul point for Team Azereth. Just 1 more before the Soul, and you don't want to see that on a Hecarim. That's especially, and not only a bunch of divers, but mainly the Hecarim, because he's known for it. He's the biggest movement speed champion in the game. It also sucks because I did notice this in this in Champ Select, but we did see it a little bit in the team fight. Anivia gets a good placed ultimate. I feel like Hecarim is going to be in a world of hurt as a good charm lands on the Skarner, buying her some distance, but it isn't going to be enough. He's going to get pulled right into Linsanity and shredded to pieces. But back to the Hecarim and the Anivia ults. How do you feel about that?
They have a lot of zone control to prevent the enemy team from being able to get into any solid engages. But that pick is going to be really big, and here's going to be an all-in.
Jinx getting ulted by the Camille is going to get volleyballed out of it so that it does go off to Jinx. Jinx going to be fleeing and is going to go down 700 to the horse's pocket. Big Brain taking a focus right now as he's going to go down next. It is going to be Leona going down for all the CC she's paid. And Anivia off to the side, going to get a stun onto Kiz. Is going to be Hecarim jumping onto Anivia, getting her very low, and that is going to be Gua taking down Ariri. A little bit of split focus going on from Team Azereth.
Really well done. Rather than team fight, getting the pick onto this Jinx. Now it looks like we're about to head into a replay and can really break down how this fight transpired. It looks like after the pick on the R, where the R was just a little bit overextended with not having Spirit Rush or the Flash available, she just is going to get the Skarner R and into the easy Jinx kill. And then it looks like they overstayed a bit trying to get some damage down onto this tower, and didn't take notion that Camille was moving. She's going to have the R available. It's going to section off the Jinx. All the Jinx summoners got rolled out, and she just had nowhere to go.
Played that vision very well, too. It can break down this one as well.
Yeah, the Jinx is going to have to blow everything. The Hecarim is still available. She's going to get feared and taken down. Then you have Skarner, he has no way out. He has no summoners available, so they're really just trying to fight in this corridor. There's going to be a lot of damage that's going to come out from the Urgot, but he's not going to be able to do enough with Anivia moving so slow, and all that the extra damage provided by the mid laner just was never going to be there.
Absolutely. It's a very, very, very well played team fight from Team Azereth to get them back into this game. Goal is once again still even. And Jinx is going to give a shutdown over to Hecarim. He is going to back soon and hopefully get a good buy going over here. Dead Man's Plate looks like he's going to be going for. As Kaisa does recall off of that. And let's see if she can pick up the Collector from that fight.
Given the gold she has on her, she shouldn't be able to get it just yet. Jinx is gonna have the item advantage for a little bit longer. She has chosen to go for that rapid fire, and that's just basically a choice of indexing a little bit into her range more so than trying to have the extra utility that a Phantom Dancer would provide in terms of the mobility that you can get from the series of auto attacks. So she's really relying on staying as far away from these team fights as possible, and it's going to be imperative that she's constantly out of range of Hecarim R, Spirit Rush, or the Hextech Ultimatum that can really lock her down.
As it looks like Hecarim is taking a bathroom break as he is in the base, window shopping. As we got some farming going on, just nothing too bad. No real objectives on the map that we can palpably take right now. Dragon in a $150, and yeah, the item advantage in the bottom lane will actually play a good role in this upcoming dragon fight.
Yeah, he's waiting a long time.
If we can deny this Kaisa, ideally for Team Spear, to back any longer, he won't have the second item, as he does get the flip onto Leona, forcing the flash out of it, but Orphic is going to be going down. Gula going to take him down, but Gula in the middle of 3 is going to go down as well, forcing the flash out of Ari. They're going to force those out. That's 2 people a minute before Drake spawns. Not too bad. Does give Team Spear the opportunity to sort of set up on this second dragon for them. Isn't going to be too much of a problem, however. They will respawn before the dragon comes up. It doesn't look like there's going to be any more engaging coming up on the side of Team Azereth, as Team Spear looks to siege the mid-tier 1.
Yeah, see, I don't know. See, Hecarim was waiting a really long time to get that his Deadman's Plate in, and I don't think not having him on the map was the best decision, as that made them vulnerable to the Skarner engage, to the all the extra engage that Alistar provided. And with more kills going over to this Jinx, she's going to be a super big threat as she looks to get that IE for her next item.
Absolutely, and a stun coming onto Hisme isn't going to be too bad, as he does walk out of it unscathed. Not unscathed, but alive, and that's all that matters here. As the dragon is going to be coming up in 20 seconds. It is vital that we can get a good engage from either side. They are setting up, Team Spears setting up a very successful start to this Drake, as they do get the crab, and they are present to the dragon spawning. Are they going to start it immediately? They're going to take it very low. They're doing it rather slowly, going to pull it out before they even start it. Hecarim's off to the side, towards the bottom side. Dragon taking about half. He has no idea. Is not going to be prepped for the steal. His TPing down is going to be, looks like a stalemate. TP all for naught, as Team Spear look to regroup in the mid lane.
Yeah, really well played on the side of Team Spear with that another really solid dragon setup. With all the zone control they have, you just cannot walk past this Anivia and this Jinx if you're trying to push through these corridors. So them maintaining the vision control with these pings have been really effective in making sure they get these mid-game dragons. And with 2 cloud dragons, if they manage to continue to stack these, that's going to really help with the vulnerabilities that Jinx and Anivia can have with not having enough movement speed to get away with all the engage that's going to be following down.
And Kaisa as well as Jinx are both at the same amount of items. Jinx just won a team fight and hasn't really recalled yet, so she might be sitting on some gold, looking to buy, I guess. Either I would like to see how much gold she has. I feel like she already has her BF sword. She definitely does, so she should probably go back and get that, as she does dodge out on the charm. She's looking to probably clear this wave and go back after that. Is halfway there to her IE. That's a huge power spike for the Jinx if she's able to get it as soon as possible.
Yeah, at this point it looks like she's probably trying to hold up and get that BF sword and the pickaxe. But that's a lot of gold that she has. She is the gold leader of the game. She has a lot of opportunities to do things. But you have to say the Camille has managed to pick up a lot of gold. She's in a good spot. The Urgot is just in a really solid spot, already sitting at 10,000 and moving into 11,000 gold. So it's going to be up to this Urgot to really pressure the backline so they cannot move forward through all the zone control that's going to be provided by the Anivia. And I really like the spot that Team Spear has got themselves in this mid game.
Absolutely. In round 4, we're going to siege into this mid tower, see if they're actually going to take it. Wave clear from Ari has been immense this game, has not been dropping the ball at all, as Jinx is going to take a tower shot to get 2 autos on it. This Ahri has been clearing these mid sieges with her life, literally one time.
Yeah, this is this is really difficult. Looks like they stalled out macro wise. There's going to be a lot of minions dying in that top side with no one really going to pick them up. Anivia kind of needs to be protective at this point. Protected at this point, so only Urgot could really match. But there's no dragon available, so this setup is a little preemptive for anything that they would be looking to do.
As it does give Team Azure the advantage to push up this mid wave, getting a good charm onto Alistar. That's going to be more than half of his HP taken out immediately. That's not too good, being one of their engages, as it is going to stall everything out. Team Azurith is going to back off. Team Azurith is not going to engage quite yet on this one, as we do have 2 off to the side, Onbo in the middle. Those are the engage setups that we do need, as Hecarim is going to ulti onto 2. Kaisa in the backline on Linsanity. Camille is going to take her down with 1 more auto. Gua and Camille are running a train on this backline, as in the front line, Orphic as well as Oriri are going to go down quite quickly. We have the Egg taken down Kaisa. That was an epic fight coming out, as Surgeon Diddle picking up a free back kill onto Kaisa. Going to make it 4 for 1 for Team Azure.
Yeah, and Kaisa going down is going to prevent that Kaisa going down is going to prevent the Baron from coming through. But if you look at how they set up this team fight, this is a pretty big example of NA Aram. There's not really anything to fight for, so everyone doesn't need to be in the mid lane right now. You have your engage on your Alistar being super low, so he's not really going to be able to do stuff even with the R coming through. Hecarim's going to get the fear, so he's going to force the Jinx cleanse out. She's going to have to flash out. All that follow-up damage is really just going to come through with the Kaisa flashing forward. There's not going to be any pressure, and then the Anivia isn't going to be able to do much with her R. She wasn't able to section off anyone, so this is just going to be a free team fight for the side of Team Azure, and they really executed that very well to make sure that Jinx had to burn her summoners, and there was still stuff left over to follow.
Absolutely, as they are going to start the Baron after that. No Kaisa to really shred this one down. I'm thinking this one's a little bit of a questionable decision, as they are going to take it down 2,000 HP after, I would say, maybe 15 seconds. They're going to call it off. Ismay is getting low. They don't want to throw this lead that they have built up for themselves. Kaisa is going to be spawning in 10, but Camille is going to get some damage on this top tier too. Not sure if she's going to be able to take it, but going to give herself some sort of advantage, as Alistar is going to back off, and she is going to take it uncontested.
Yeah, they're gonna really need to position better in these team fights if they're gonna try to come back with this with the team fight advantage that Team Azure has managed to put together. The Anivia really is gonna have to communicate her cooldowns, because her wall and her R is gonna be really important to prevent those type of massive engages that come onto the Jinx, especially now that Jinx doesn't have flash, doesn't have cleanse, is really gonna be at a loss of anything that's gonna help her with her survivability.
Absolutely. Dragon coming up in 36 seconds. It's going to be a pretty big one, because both teams are even in Dragons. This one's going to set the pace for how each team is going to play it out. Blue team ahead of gold in 3,000. Does have a little bit of an item advantage in the, I would say, is that the mid lane? Yeah, the mid lane for sure. Does have a stopwatch, but Anivia does have her full Zhonya's, so they are going to both have stasis. Banshee's coming up in about 20 seconds for the Ahri is going to be vital for this. Isn't going to be up in time for the dragon rather. Ismay off to the side. He is going to be spotted out, taking a ward. We are getting a TP from Camille, as well as a TP from the Urgot. Is going to be all 5 members present for this fight. They're going to drag out the Cloud Drake one more time and see if they're going to be able to take this, but it doesn't seem like Hecarim's too happy about it. He's going to go in for this one. Doesn't get the steal, but does get the fear on too. Oriri's going to be in the front, going to get a massive setup for an engage. Does not go for it, however. Kaisa is in the middle of a bunch of people, is going to go down as well. They're chasing this one down. Is going to be Linsanity throwing out a call out. Isn't going to reach. Is going to take the 1 kill. And they're probably going to head over to Baron, as it's Kiz in the middle of the way. Getting a good suppress off of her. It is going to be flipped, but the flip is going to be countered by the Camille ult. She's going to hookshot out. She's going to stay alive, and it is going to be Team Spear going for the Baron.
Yeah, that was a perfect execution of how Team Spear wants to play team fights. They want to force the Hecarim to dive past. the Anivia are, and no one else could move through. And that was just Sergeant Diddle controlling the area and forcing them to take a really disadvantageous fight. And let's see if he manages to do the same thing. He's just going to place this R. No one can really get in to check this.
Yes, it is. It's going to go down pretty quickly, too, as it is going to be the Smite uncontested easy Baron for Team Spear. They are back in this game after giving away a lead. However, it is still even. Let's see what they can do with the gold or with the advantage of this Baron. See if they can shift the gold into their way and maybe open up a couple lanes more than they already are. 3 towers for Team Spear, 4 for Team Azereth. They do have a bonus tower in the top lane that they got from winning that mid fight, that mid ARAM fight, as I should say. Cloud Soul Point. We had 3 Cloud Drakes for the Skarner. That's actually kind of huge. I know it's not on Hecarim, but Skarner would like some of those too. How do you feel?
Yeah, this is going to be really, really big for the Skarner. You saw how fast he was catching up to the Camille and getting that R off. It forced the Camille to base and really put them in a good spot. But this is going to be a really big pick if they manage to get it.
Absolutely. Orphic caught out alone. 4 people looking like it's going to be a close one. K is going to go down to the Urgot. Urgot's looking to maybe take one more. Does take half off of Hisme, or off Onbo actually, but isn't going to be enough. They're going to be sieging the mid tower as well. Riri and Big Brain are looking to engage onto this Ahri if need be. A couple of good rockets from the Jinx is going to take her low. Investing 4 for the Urgot does end up taking him down. That's 1 Baron gone, but the 1-3-1 is going to be very, very, very massive amounts of pressure. They do get 2 inner towers for their troubles.
Yeah, really well done. They know that they can't defend against the siege with the Anivia, being able to control the points underneath the tower with the small corridors of the base. So going for the pick on the Urgot was a good decision, but the Urgot played it really, really well, turning the damage down onto the Camille and really getting that trade kill that prevented them enemy team from being able to converge on any of the other points and letting his team get 2 towers.
Absolutely, and I would say if I was the Urgot, that would be pretty worth. Doesn't give too much. Go on.
Oh yeah, he's definitely happy with that, with what he's done there.
Absolutely. Dragon coming up in 1:45. It's going to be the final dragon that Team Spear wants, or the soul point that Team Azereth needs. Is going to be 3 in the mid lane, pushing up against Orphic. Orphic has seen this one before. Let's see if he goes for it again. Does dash out. Is going to get charmed up by the Ahri, taking the true damage. Going to have to flash out of that. The Zenith Blade goes wide as he does flash out of it. Gua taking a low, as it is going to be Skarner in the bot lane, pulling in the Camille. She is going to get 1 shot, as they are sieging bot lane, not caring at all what Team Azereth have to say. Orphic taken low. Is going to be holding off this wave, though. Hecarim taken by the Anivia wall is going to go down to the Jinx rocket. That's 2 of Team Azereth going down. Orphic and Ahri still going at it in the top lane. Orphic melee range into the Ahri. Ahri forced to pop the stasis. Flashes forward with the Q, but isn't going to be enough to take him down. He's going to live on 1 HP. And we take an inhib in the bot lane. Team Spear is going to jump onto Gua. Gua is going to be taken very low. Isn't going to go down just yet, as they are taking out tower after tower. TP coming in from Urgot. This is going to look to be the end of the game. Oriri going on the engage on top of them to stall them from even thinking about finishing this game. And that's going to be Team Spear with the win.
Yeah, really solid closeout. The decision to send so many people after the Urgot was massive at that point, just zoning off 3 people. He did not die, and then he ends up getting the solo kill on the Ahri before she can base. That was really Orphic controlling the end portion of the game and giving his team the opportunity to close, with multiple picks going down in the bot side, with Hecarim going down. The Camille is going to get flashed R and he's taken down. Really well done on side of Team Spear to collect up this game.
Definitely so, as let's look at some of the damage that we've seen this game. Oh my, Urgot taking the damage by storm on the red team. Top damage of the game, but Ahri close behind them with 24k. This Ahri, despite, not winning, still kind of did a lot in this game in terms of fighting. Definitely a lot. I attribute this to a lot of the trades against the Anivia. What do you think across the damage board?
Yeah, and she was putting out a lot of damage into the Urgot. There is still, I still believe there is a true damage portion of R's Q on the back end, so she does have decent scaling into these tanks if she manages to full combo them. Generally, you don't want to do that, but she did get a lot of damage, a lot of true damage coming on, getting multiple Q2s onto people. But I think the big unsung hero of this game is, even though it didn't appear that the Anivia did much, Team Spear executed their game plan in controlling these dragons, and she just made it so that all these dragon fights were just going to be advantages for Team Spear if they got there first, and none of these corridors could be walked through.
Absolutely. And so this Urgot's been doing a lot for the damage boards. Most gold earned in the game, most self-mitigated damage, which isn't I would say there's a few champs in this game that could compete with that, but Urgot was no contest for anyone else. And the healing done, I think we all know who that's going to go to. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll conclude game number 1 of the day. Heroic League Week 3, Day 1. God, don't go anywhere. We have a great match coming for you next game. We got Yumi versus BBZ coming for you in just a few. But before that, we have an interview with our winners. Don't you go anywhere. We'll see you very soon.
What makes you an exception?
Hello, folks. It's Chris Edgeworth here for the interviews again this week. I'm joined by Big Brain from the victorious Team Spear. How you feeling after that win?
I'm feeling amazing.
Well, I mean, we'll talk more about this. This is your first win on the stage. That's pretty awesome for you folks. I do want to talk about your preparation on that note coming into this game against a team that has been part of the league for a while. They've been known to be scary, and you guys are definitely the underdogs coming into this game. What was the prep like coming into a game like this?
Yeah, so our coaches do so much work. They put in so much time just to analyze what they do. And I think we just decided on how they pick diving comps, and that's exactly what they did. And we just decided just to protect the Jinx.
and protect the Jinx you did. I mean, there was the one fight later in the game where I felt like they really got your number.
Yeah.
And that was a little scary for a second. But, you know, to your point, I think you guys did a really good job of keeping Linsanity safe in a lot of those fights. Talk to me about your plan in this game. Hecarim's been the top tier jungler in Pro. We've been seeing a lot in this series as well. You bring out the initial D Skarner in this matchup. What are your thoughts on this matchup and coming into a game like this with that pick?
Yeah, so originally our plan was just to peel the Jinx with my R, but seeing how they were playing, they just kept formatting our Urgot, and I just ran at them.
It makes it really easy when they just 4-man the Urgot. You know, we were getting. I was having fun, you know, casting it because I was like, you guys were pushing bot, and I just keep cutting over to this 1v3 Urgot who's just like standing there, just like, all right, then I guess this is happening.
Yeah, he was kind of big.
He was kind of big, I think. Yeah. So this is the first win for Team Spear. Talk to me about how that feels for your team and what that means going forward.
So I mean, it's just the beginning, you know. We've been practicing. And I think, I mean, if you just look at our games, we're always up levels, gold. So we just needed to improve our team fights, and that's we just performed.
Yeah, I mean, it really showed. Especially, you guys did a good job. Once you had the ability to contest them, you guys did a great job of holding the dragon, especially with your red side access, and just really taking advantage of the river vision, of course, but also your ability to just take those fights. And you did a really good job this game. So, Big Brain, I want to thank you again for joining us on the desk. Is there any final words you have before we go?
Yeah, I have two things to say. Orfrictive, and I just want to shout out Shielded and our coaches, Shielded and Ghouls. They put so much time into our team, and yeah, I just want to thank them.
Amen to that. Well, folks, thanks for sticking with us. Big Brain, thanks again for joining us. We'll be back with Game 2 of the Heroic series. Don't touch that browser. We'll be right back.